This show is #1 in your hearts. And hey, you gotta love those socks. Socks and a smile. So get your all in it as you swing away, because the runs will come across the plate and the teams will celebrate. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. Welcome back, Mr. Young.
Had a wonderful time touring a number of different banana plants, and they were all appealing.
You had to slip that one in there, didn't you?
I absolutely had to. A lot of action over the last week, and we got teams into playoffs this week, or just heading into playoffs this last week.
Correct.
Some heading into playoffs this week. Some just wrapping up regular season. It's an exciting time for spring sports.
Well, it is, and so much has been combined into such a short period of time because of the weather and the slow start to the season and the fact that we missed about the first 3 weeks. So it's crazy.
Yeah, the baseball team with a busy week this week to wrap up the regular season. Last week, a lot of action started on Tuesday with a trip to Elk River. The Cardinals coming out victorious 6-4 over the Elks. Jackson Bates, Logan Severson, and Nick Lockenden all going 2 for 4. Ryan Garlick 1 for 2, walked, scored twice. Hermanson getting the win, going 6 innings in the winning effort. Unfortunately, a rough day on Wednesday as they took on the team from New Prague. Cardinals held to just 3 hits in the ballgame. Logan Severson pitched all right, but got away from him a little bit, and Cardinals obviously not getting the offense they needed, just 2 runs across and losing 12-2.
Wasn't a pretty one, that is for sure, from what I've heard. I wasn't there, but that's what I have heard.
Yeah, need to have the offense going. They were back on home field on Thursday, looking for a bounce-back game against conference opponent that was on a hot streak. Park Center Pirates had won 4 straight coming into the game, 3 of them against Northwest Suburban teams. They were 2 games ahead of the Cardinals, and the Cardinals would need to be on their game to gain some ground. Pirates scored in the top of the first, but the Cardinals answered the bottom half. Game already tied when Caleb Ness gives it a ride to center. It's plenty deep for Bryce Peterson to tag and score on the sacrifice. Coon Rapids takes the lead. Move to the 4th. Cardinals up by 2 and 2 runners in scoring position for Adam Offerdahl. He pokes it into shallow right field. Jackson Bates will come home and make it a 4-1 edge for the home squad. Next at the plate is Kirby Peary. Falls behind 0-2, but no problem. He drills this one to deep left center. It's just out of the fielder's reach. Peterson scores easily. Offerdahl wheels it all the way around from first. 2-run double for Peary pushes Cardinals lead to 5 runs midway through the game. They keep the offense going in the 6th. Runners at 2nd and 3rd. Nobody out for Nick Lockenden. He fires it into right. It's an easy out, but it's deep enough to add to the lead. Xander Parr comes to the dish that time. Cards add 1 more on their way to an impressive 9-2 win.
And, Joe, they really needed that win, especially after that 12-2 loss. They needed to bounce back. They really have gotten off to a bit of a slow start this start of the season. I think some momentum is catching up, and they've got a lot of games all on the road left before they start their section play.
Yeah, this whole week on the road starts with a night game on Tuesday night at Osseo, then at Shakopee on Thursday, at Totino Grace on Saturday. And we would be remiss to go past this point without saying there was another big event in the middle of that week. Congratulations to head coach Dan Mossy.
Matt Mossy.
I can't believe I said Dan. Matt Mossy.
Yeah, and he actually was not at that game against Park Center. That was his groom's dinner for that evening. So Coach Don Bright took over and got a 9-2 win.
Nice to see the offense coming back, and they've got, like I said, a very busy week to finish out the week. Softball team will head into the playoffs this week, and they struggled a little bit in the final week of the regular season. First time we've seen this team held scoreless, and it happens not once but twice. Only a couple of hits against Elk River. They lose to the Elks 3-0 on Tuesday, then turn around and lose to Eden Prairie 4-0 on Wednesday, and again, just 4 hits in the ballgame. This is a team that has been absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. We were talking, midway through the season about a team that had far more games with home runs than without.
Well, if you're going to cool off a little bit, cool off towards the end of the season, and then before you do it, have one final game where the bats get going again before you start your sections.
That is what you would like, is
get
that little slide out of the way before you get to the postseason.
Well, the Cardinals wrapped up the regular season on Friday, hoping to get their offense back on track before the playoffs. And the opponent would give them a great opportunity to do just that. The Park Center Pirates were winless coming into the game, and they'd given up 10 or more runs in 9 of their 12 games this season. The Cardinals made sure to keep both of those streaks alive. A special evening at the newly remodeled Sand Creek Park, and the Cardinals waste no time getting started. Already up 1-0 in the first. Meg Scheck with a drive to the fence in right center. She's sliding in safely with a double, and the run scores from first, and that's going to make it a 2-run lead. There you see the run coming across. Well, they weren't done in the first. Kennedy Kerr sneaks this one past a diving third base minder. Scheck will score from third, and Coon Rapids leads 3-1 after 1. That was enough for Sam Lom. She gets the swinging strikeout here. Went the distance, allowing just 1 run on 3 hits with 7 strikeouts. The offense keeps rolling. 4th inning, Abby Graham with a 2-out single to score 2 more runs. That made it 7-1, and Graham wasn't quite done. We're going to move to the 6th. Graham at the plate again. She's going to save her best for last. Watch this as she's going to hammer a double to the gap. Nice pitch there, but she makes him pay. Lom will score all the way from first. Graham was going to go 4 for 4 on the night with 3 RBI. The Cardinals had 11 hits, scored 10 runs, coasting to a 10-1 win to finish the season 13-6 overall. And they got their bats going. They scored some runs. Didn't hit the long ball, but...
Talk about getting your bats going. Yeah. Everybody... getting in on it. You had 4 hits for Abby Graham.
Yep.
Sam Lom had 3.
Yep.
There was one other in there that had 3 hits. I thought Kerr and Scheck each had 2 hits, driving in runs. Everybody getting involved. That's what they need going into the playoffs. And the Cardinals, deservingly so, getting a high seed and a chance to host the first round of sections. The Cardinals, the number 3 seed, will host St. Francis in the first round Wednesday at 4:30. Blaine and Andover, the 4-5 matchup. Forest Lake got the number 1 seed, and they will face Cambridge Isani. Anoka, the number 2, and Duluth, the number 7 in the first round. Second round and third round will happen on Saturday at Sand Creek. So Cardinals really in very familiar territory for the entire tournament. Yeah, until the very end, which has to feel pretty good.
Yeah, you get to play at home at the high school, your first game, and then really, you're right, another home field advantage at Sand Creek.
And unfortunately, we will not be there on Wednesday. We are hoping to be able to make it to Saturday for at least 1, if not 2 games. Tennis team into the section tournament this past week. They wrapped up the regular season against Forest Lake, and they lost a tight one to the Rangers, losing 4-3 on Tuesday. And as it so happens, that kind of determined the 4-5 matchup for this section tournament. The Cardinals, because they lost, ended up as the number 5, but still ended up with home court because Forest Lake only has 4 courts at their facility. So the Cardinals host them again in the first round of the playoffs on Thursday, and this time, or the 8-9 matchup, and this time the Cardinals get the better end of it, a 4-3 win. Look at that, Vu and Terabeza going to a tiebreak at third doubles, and it is the difference and got the Cardinals an opportunity to move on. They took on top seed Elk River today. Unfortunately, we were unable to get those results in time for the show. We do know that top singles Andrew Argeros still playing as a single in the section tournament as of today.
Yeah, and I think his season was, kind of as the season grew, his game became stronger as well. But a nice way to bounce back after that 4-3 loss, to come back and get the 4-3 win. So.
Well, it's an interesting thing because they kind of shortened up the tiebreak situation in the first. Could have had it gone to full super tiebreaks, Cardinals may have won that one as well. But either way, they get the result they want, they get the win they want, and at least get to face the Elk River Elks in the quarterfinal. We'll have, obviously, the final results for you next week on Sportsnight. Boys golf team, a couple of events this past week against their Northwest Suburban Conference opponents. On Tuesday, they were at Victory Links. The Cardinals shot a .356 as a team. Carter Heeman shooting an 81 to lead the way. Luke Medved at an 87. Connor Wise was in with an 88. Alec Erickson shot a 100. Drew Erickson a 103. Well, the Cardinals started this week with another round against the Northwest Suburban Conference opponents, this time at Loggers Trail. A few changes to the lineup for Coon Rapids on Monday, hoping that would help them whittle away at the score. Last tune-up before this week's conference championship. Carter Heeman leading the way for the Cardinals, having a pretty consistent round. He shot a 45 and a 47 and ended up with a team low 92. Luke Medved recovered after a slow start. He shot a 42 on the back nine. That allowed him to get into the clubhouse with a 97 for the day. Connor Wise also shooting a 97. Caden Karnowski up next for the Cardinals. He kept his scorecard pretty balanced as well. Shoots a 51 on the front nine. And it takes one off for a 50 coming home into the clubhouse just over the century mark. Jason Klebeck, another Cardinal, having a tough time on the front side at Loggers Trail. Made the turn at 63, but he trimmed 7 strokes on the way back in. Ends up with a team high 119. Finally, Matt Ammon keeping with the team trend, 55 going out. Better back nine. Getting in 50 for a 105 on the day. Cardinals finished 13th again this time, a team score of 387.
Yeah, certainly always tough. Golf is a mental game, no doubt, and you know, you can have a tough round on the front nine, even better, but it really plays with your score.
Well, they do get to come home to their favorite turf. Yep. Bunker Hills will host the next 2 events. First, the conference championship on Thursday, and then next week, the 4 AAA tournament will be held Wednesday, Thursday. Also at Bunker, we'll have updates on at least the conference championship for you next week on Sportsnight. Girls golf team, a couple of events this past week as well. It was supposed to be a triangular, turned into a quadrangular, and unfortunately, the Cardinals essentially come away with an 0-3 record against 3 conference opponents. They shot a 206, so not too shabby. Ellie Carver, a team low 48. Rachel Bissett behind her with a 52. Bez Kalo also shot a 52, and Nicole Bissett had a 54. Then it was up against Elk River, a 219. A little off the pace they had set from the match before. Rachel Bissett this time with the team low 50. Ellie Carver just 1 behind her. Then Abby Olson, Tori Wensloff at 61. Wynn shot a 65, and Haas finished the day with a 69. They actually had the conference championship today, and we did get video, but we do not have results as of yet. Still being tabulated, so we'll have that next week for you. Yes. On Sportsnight, and they will be heading into their section tournament next week. They're at North Fork for the 5-3A tournament on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
Yeah, it looks like we get some good weather. They should be able to get all that stuff in, so that'll be good.
Coming from the CTN meteorologist.
Did the check before the show, had to make sure. Well, the girls lacrosse team will wrap up the regular season on Wednesday. They've had a chaotic couple of weeks to get all their games in. They played 3 straight, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday last week, starting with a visit to Irondale. The Knights have struggled all season with only 1 win on the year, and they were giving up nearly 14 goals per game over their previous 5. Gave the Cards an opportunity they weren't going to pass up. We pick up the action in the second half. The Cardinals already comfortably in control. Jordan Keller coming from behind the net and scoring 1 of her 5 in the game. That puts Coon Rapids on top, 14-4. Cardinals getting a lot of players involved this one. Alyssa Brazier clearing the way out front, then finding Paige Foslin. She scores. Foslin finished with 3 goals and an assist. Things look easy for the Cardinals in this one. A lot of moving pieces on offense. Vanessa Makar moving behind the net. Nobody picks her up as she dumps it over the keeper's shoulder. 16-8 Coon Rapids at that point. Irondale trying to find some offense at the other end. Cindy Oswald well marked but works to the front. Cardinals keeper Taylor Garvis comes out to challenge, makes the save. She had 12 stops against Irondale. Back to the offensive end. Not sure how this pass gets through, but it gets Brazier and she puts it home. One of 6 players with multiple points. Brazier with 2 goals and an assist, and the Cardinals cruise to an 18-8 win, their biggest offensive output of the year so far.
Yeah, it's essential, especially for a team like this that hasn't had the season they had hoped for, but they definitely have potential to take the opportunity against a lesser team and really put them away.
Yeah, and talking to Coach Swenson, yes, the girls are starting to buy in, learn her systems. Obviously, it's a new system for these players as well. So as the season progresses, she feels this team is progressing as well.
I think the movement on offense looks very interesting and exciting, and I've only seen just a little bit, unfortunately. And unfortunately, the Cardinals lose another heartbreaker on Friday. Unfortunately, they come out on the losing end of another 1-goal game, this time to Park Center. Osseo, 11-10 the final. Jordan Keller led the way with 2 goals and an assist. Paige Fosselin also had a pair of goals. Brazier and Tom with a goal and an assist each, and 4 other girls each got a goal in the contest. Well, no time to dwell on the disappointment of a 1-goal loss to Osseo Park Center. Cardinals back home on Saturday and hoping to get right back on track. Spring Lake Park Panthers were right behind the Cardinals in the conference standings. They had just 1 win and had lost 5 in a row. Both teams looking at this as a winnable game that would mean something in both the conference and the section. It's good to be home, and the Cardinals jump to the early lead. Jordan Keller coming from behind the net, wrapping around to the upper corner. That gets Coon Rapids on the board first. They try to pour it on early. Great speed for Anessa McCarr. Catches the defense flat-footed. Zips the shot right past the keeper's ear. Cardinals in the driver's seat early, 2-0. Panthers came back to tie, then the captain connects. Beautiful play. Keller to Brazier. One-timer gives the lead back to Coon Rapids, but they couldn't pull away. It's a 1-goal lead at the half, and the Panthers keep clawing their way back. Look at the moves by Cameron Crawford, weaving her way to the net. She scores, and Spring Lake Park has the 7-6 lead. They were able to add to it with some tremendous passing. Great movement sets up Samantha Hasbrook out front. She scores to make it 8-6 Panthers at that point, and they go on to give the Cardinals a 12-8 victory.
Tough
defeat.
Tough loss for them as well, and especially at home. But you know, it's an interesting season. The Cardinals have back-to-back home games to finish the regular season this week. It started with a visit from Elk River on Monday. Really, it's Elk River, Rogers, and Zimmerman, but that's a lot to say. The Elks were a little below 500, and it turned into a seesaw battle that stayed close to the end and could have easily gone either way. Talk about how to answer quickly. After the Elks scored first, Grace Hanula gets it right back off the draw, able to track it down, scoop it up on the run, and she's gone right past the defenders to the back of the net to even it at 1 apiece. Start of another big night for her. Another long run for a Cardinal attacker. This time, it's Mason Holland weaving through the defense, jumps and puts it over the keeper's shoulder. Game is tied at 7 at the half. We move into the second half. Jordan Keller with the feed, Paige Foslin with the sweeping finish, all tied at 11. But every time the Cardinals pulled even, the Elks seem to have an answer. Haley Hartledge dancing through the defenders to get to the net, and ERZ leads 14-13 with 8:49 left. Coon Rapids able to draw a free position just 2 minutes later. Holland will make it count. That ties it at 6 minutes left, and the defense held from there to go into overtime. Elk River, Rogers Zimmerman jumps first off the draw. Hartledge sends it up. Haley Johnson able to scoop and run toward the Cardinals net. She ends it with 11 seconds into the extra period. Elks win in overtime, 15-14. A disappointing loss for Coon Rapids.
And they've been on the wrong end of a lot of 1- and 2-goal games this season. They're a team that's so close. You talk about it's a brand new system, and they do have a solid senior group.
They do.
You know, they like you talked about, their new coach Ashley Swenson, feeling better about the way their team is playing, getting closer to the playoffs. They have just 1 game remaining in the regular season. They host Maple Grove on Wednesday, and then Section 7 play starts next Tuesday for lacrosse.
Yeah, and you know, and Coach Swenson wanting to put her own mark on this program, and you know. course, Coach Jeff DeJoy for so many years was successful at this level, and so Coach Swenson had some big sneakers to fill coming in, and she's doing a nice job.
Yeah. Well, we hope to see some more Cardinal action soon. We're going to be following the softball playoffs. Hopefully, a pair of games for the Cardinals on Saturday. Could be seeing more of them on the following Tuesday, the 29th. Baseball playoffs, we get to look at the Cardinals in tournament action on Wednesday, the 30th. But that's going to do it for this edition of Sports Night. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howard Shapiro, I'm Joe Young, saying good night.